Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another live stream. So this live stream is for IELTS speaking, and what we do is I get some students to come and join me in here, to join me live. I'll ask them some questions, give them some feedback, and the main thing that they're getting feedback on is their weaknesses. So to improve your IELTS scores, what you need to do is find out where you're lacking, focus on improving that area first, and then repeat the process. So it might be the case that, your grammar is weaker than your fluency, your vocab, your pronunciation. So by knowing that and focusing completely on improving your grammar, that's what will improve your scores. So rather than working on the areas that don't need your attention, you need to work on your weaknesses. So that's what we're here for today. This is what the live stream is for. And I've already shared a link with you. So you should see. Oh, hi Manjat, you got here early. And Udheen, good evening. Good to see you here. So I've shared a link with you already. So I just labeled it link to join me for IELTS speaking feedback. Click on that link there and you'll come and join me in the platform here. So we're focusing on part 3 today. So IELTS speaking part 3. So each week we just focus on one area. So last week was part 2, this week part 3. Next week we'll go back to part 1 and just cycle through them like that. If you haven't already completed my lessons for how to improve your IELTS speaking scores and what to do in the IELTS speaking test, I'm going to share those with you now as well. So combined, they are a total of, there must be like maybe about an hour worth of videos. So there's not a lot in it, in that it doesn't take a lot of time to complete it, but it explains everything about how your IELTS speaking test is scored for fluency, vocab, grammar, pronunciation, how to improve each of those scores, then what to do in the test, what to do in part 1, what to do in part 2, what to do in part 3 to ensure you get the highest possible score, and then what to expect in the test as well. So all of those things are there. So you can click on those. I've labeled it Complete IELTS Speaking Guide. There's one link for Facebook, one link for YouTube, but it's the same lessons, just depending on which platform you prefer. If you have a preference, you can choose the one you like. Oh, we got another bunch of students in here. Hey, Lizzie, Samika, welcome to the lesson. Muazzam, welcome. Myra, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, so while we're waiting for, nobody has joined me here yet. So if you want to join me, just click on the link. You'll come in here. But just two things that I wanted to mention about part 3. So I was doing a one-on-one speaking test last week. And in the lesson, the student asked me, do you always have to give an example in part 3? Do you always have to explain, give an example, state an outcome? So when I'm saying to develop your answer, I'm saying do those things because it's easy. You'll always be able to think of, an explanation, an example. It's just to give you something to talk about. So it's not that the IELTS speaking test requires you to very strictly follow that pattern. It's not, you answer the question, you give an explanation, you give an example, you talk about the outcome. It's not that the examiner is sitting there going, okay, they gave the explanation, they gave the example. They're not listening for that. They're just listening for development. So you need to develop your answer. That's what's important. As long as you develop your answer, that's completely fine. So the reason I've given you that strategy is there are students who struggle with development. They think, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to develop my ideas. And those are things that will always be applicable. No matter what the topic is, you'll always be able to explain your answer, give an example, talk about the outcome. But again, you don't have to do all of those. You don't have to do any of those. You might do one and not the others. So it's not very strict. It's just a guideline to help you have something to say, because you don't want to be in the test and just be stuck, go like, okay, I've answered the question and now I have nothing to say, because that will affect your fluency and coherence score. Hi, Eliza. Good to see you here. Ramat, sir, you also describe linking words, how we can use writing 1 and task 2 for cohesive devices. Yeah, so I've shared cohesive devices with you. If you go to my website, you'll see them under task 2, coherence and cohesion, and task 1, coherence and cohesion. So they're all there. They're all there. Hi, Chidi Bear. Welcome to the lesson. Hey, Maravik. Good to see you here. Okay. So still nobody has joined me yet. So what you're looking for is the link at the very start of the comments. So just scroll up to the top. You'll see this link. Link to join me live. Okay, Saru is here. Hey, Saru. Give me one moment and I'll get you in here. If you are joining me live, make sure to turn on your camera. If you are not joining me live, don't just sit back and watch like a normal YouTube video. Try to benefit from this. So what you want to do is either practice responding to the questions that I ask or analyze the student's performance. Because let's say, you need a band 7 and we have a student here who has that standard, and you think, okay, that's much better than me. I obviously need to improve my English. So it'll give you a guideline as to what level you're at, but it will also help you understand what the examiner is looking for if you try to analyze the student's performance and just say what scores or what weaknesses do you think they have, and you can compare that to my feedback. Hi, Madhat. Good to see you here. Okay, Saru, let's get you in here. Hey, Saru.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? How are you?
Doing good, thanks. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. And we missed you in the live feedback lesson earlier on.
Yeah, I was not feeling well, so I couldn't join the live session.
You okay now?
Yeah, I'm doing. It's better now.
Good,
So I
good,
have a
good.
quick question. Can
Yeah,
I ask
go ahead.
that? Tomorrow live session is for uh, general training tax 1.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
None of the
So
class are for general training later, and so I was a little confused whether that was just a mistake or it was
no,
exactly general
there were
training.
no lessons. So Saru is asking about the live feedback lessons that I do on Zoom. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to break it up like once a month. I'm going to do the first Wednesday of every month. I'm going to have general training because it's less popular.
Yeah.
And then the other Wednesdays of the month, I'm going to do academic. But I just want to give some support to the general training students. But
Okay.
because it's only about a quarter of students do general training, and also general training task 1, it's not as complicated as academic, so they don't need as much support. So to answer your question, yes, tomorrow is general training. I'd actually forgotten about that myself. Okay. So we're doing part 3.
Mm-hmm.
The questions are generally related to the same topic as you would have talked about in task 2.
Yeah.
So that was a long time
Bless you.
coming. Thank you. It was coming and it just kind of waited.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, so the general topic of these part 3 questions are vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically vehicles in your country is the first set. Okay.
Okay.
So your questions are: which form of vehicle is most common in your country?
Just let me form a vehicle. Um, Most of the people living in my country are from the middle class family, so they couldn't afford a big car, and that's why the most common vehicles in my country are motorbikes and bicycle. Uh, and most of the people use those vehicles during visiting their closed one, while going to shopping, and while while going to their offices. So the people who are economically low, they use the bicycle, and the middle class family always use the motorbikes for their use. So these are the vehicles the mostly people living in my country use.
In many countries, young drivers are not as careful as older ones. Is this true where you live?
Uh, yes, it is. It is more common in my country because what happens is mostly the young people use the motorbikes, and they use with a big siren, and to look cool and to grab the attention of other people, they always use their motorbikes at the high speed with a big sound. So there is a lot of more accident happened recently, because and that is more common among the young peoples because they doesn't really care, and uh, in a matter of looking cool, they always uh, use their and ride the vehicles or motorbikes in their one way. So it has been quite common these days.
In your country, is it easier to drive in the countryside or in the cities?
In my country, it is more easy to travel in the countryside because in the cities there is with the increasing population, there is more vehicles, and mostly in my country what happened is the road size is very small in the city area, and with the increasing number of vehicles there is huge traffic, whereas in the countryside there is not such thing, um, a small road and also a small number of vehicles, so it is more easier in the countryside to travel.
Do people in your country feel... Is my sound quality horrible? Can you hear me clearly?
No, it's good, it's good.
Okay, I can hear my voice back, excuse me. Do people in your country feel proud if they own an expensive car?
Yes, my people in my country feel proud using a big car because, as I said earlier, the most of the middle class family couldn't afford that, and only the high class family who are economically stable can afford that. So it's a kind of it kind of people feel the kind of prestigious, and they have a different kind of lifestyle in the society. So as everyone cannot buy a car, so only a limited people can afford a car. That's why it is a kind of prestigious feel while buying a car in my country.
Okay. You are much more comfortable today than normal.
Yeah, I
Much
have
more
practiced the
relaxed.
whole week. That's why maybe.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah.
Very big difference. Normally, you're you're just not as relaxed. It affects your fluency. It affects your pronunciation. Today is so much better than normal. You're like a massive improvement.
Yeah,
Massive
thank you for
improvement.
that.
I'm very impressed that you just you're just answering the questions like you're not focusing on giving IELTS answers. You're just talking as if you're talking outside the context of the IELTS test. You're more relaxed. You're yeah. This is
Yeah, that
really
usually happens. That usually happens when I know the answer. If different context of the question is asked, and if I have to think that answer, then that is the problem.
okay. So when it's generating your ideas
Yeah,
and then trying
because
to
these are
talk.
the things that usually happens in my country. So I think that may be the reason I'm feeling comfortable. If something different I didn't know, I had to think that answer, then a little bit of confusion and hesitation will develop.
I've had students where they're constantly trying, like, let's say I have one particular student I have in mind that they wanted to go to Canada. And every time they try to answer a question, they try to imagine what was the scenario in Canada or like what are things like over there and try to think of a context that they have never experienced instead of using the context of their own country. So that's something that I've seen, not just this, it was very obvious with this student, but I think that happens to students a bit because the questions are quite kind of like centered on the way things work in Western countries. So there is that kind of a cultural gap sometimes. But no, your answers, they're really strong, well developed, good range, like good level of fluency, nice range and accuracy of vocab, very clear pronunciation. Grammar is the main area for you to work on, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not that you're making, well, there are some mistakes you're making more often, actually. Let me just go through them. They're from the middle class family, should be there from a middle class family.
Okay.
So that's an article mistake.
Mhm.
The most common is bicycle. It should be the most common one. No, the most common is the bicycle, or bicycles are most common. You'll have the recording of this anyway, so you can get it all there if you want. You're talking about the young guys on the motorbikes. They use with a big siren. Is
I
that the
mean,
horn?
I was saying the horn, but
The horn.
immediately I was realizing that, oh, I just said a siren. Yeah.
Okay. So you know, so that's just
Yeah.
a vocab thing.
Yeah.
But then with the preposition with, so they use a big siren, not they use with. So that's a preposition mistake. There are a lot of accidents happen recently. There are a lot of accidents, plural. So a plural mistake, which happened recently. It's just the relative pronoun. It is more easy to travel. It is easier. That's something that you said a few times, saying more
Yeah.
easy instead of easier.
Okay.
I think that's a good one for you to focus on, because you said that definitely twice, if not more. You said there is not such thing instead of there is no such thing. So that's just a phrase. You need to learn it as it is. There is no such thing. And then it was the same thing. You said the middle class family again another time.
Yeah.
But this time it should have been plural. So it should have been most middle class families. So you had a the and no plural where you needed no, the, and plural. I think articles and plurals, just looking at the mistakes, going back through them there, those seem to be the ones that you're making most often.
So I need a band 7. It's a big deal, right?
Not based on today's performance. I think talking to previously, I would have said there's quite a lot of work to do to get a band 7. Talking to you today, you will need to reduce the number of grammar mistakes you're making.
Okay.
But you have some work to do for sure, but it's not a band 7 isn't very far away.
Yeah.
You know. Great. Well,
Thank
lovely
you.
speaking to you again.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Take care, you too.
Bye. Okay. So let me share the link to join again. I have nobody here at the moment. So I'll just share the link. I already shared it at the start of the lesson. Maybe nobody wants to join. So you'll see it here. Link to join me live. So you'll see it in the comments on YouTube or Facebook, whichever one you're on. And let's have a look through the comments I got. I'll go through your comments and answer any questions you have now. Okay, Muzam. No problem whatsoever. You have to work, you have to work. Hi, Jeshan. What time is general training? So my general training lesson is for my subscribers, and that is on Zoom. So they're my free group classes on Zoom. Let me share that with you here. And I also have one-on-one lessons, one-on-one services as well. So this is what you're looking for, Ligi. So click on that and subscribe, register, and you'll see a list of all the lessons. I have all the lessons scheduled from now to the end of January. I decided to take a little bit of time off for myself for Christmas. I haven't had a break in a long time, so get some nice family time over Christmas. And that's what you're looking for there. So the general lessons that Soru was talking about, you will find with this link. Abdul Wahab, hi Lara, thanks for today's session. You're very welcome. Oh, and as well, so Abdul Wahab won a mock speaking test with me, but I have a competition that I'm running. So I made a post. You'll find it in my YouTube community, or you'll find it on my Facebook. What do they call that? Facebook page. But it's just a post. It says put your name under here. So tomorrow I'm going to choose another winner, and we'll have another mock speaking test. So if you want to participate and you haven't already put your name under that post, you can find that. So it's just scroll down on my Facebook page or go to the community tab in my YouTube channel. Kasum, will you please help us in general writing task 1? Yes, of course. So I was just explaining to Ligi about the live feedback lessons. So you can join those. But of course, I have lessons on general training task 1 as well. So if you haven't already completed those, I think the easiest place to find them is if you just go to my YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and search for Complete Test Success, and you'll see them on the front page. I have the YouTube channel organized quite well. Or if you go to Facebook, you have to click the video tab and you'll find them there. But yeah, definitely there's support for everyone here, Kasum. Ligi, you're very welcome. Samika, the link is not working on your phone. Oh, is anyone else having that problem? Can you maybe try a different browser? That might help. Maybe if you've got a Chrome browser on your phone, or maybe a different device. Is anyone else having problems joining? I normally have a few people waiting to join me, but not today for some reason. Either the link isn't working or everyone's getting a bit shy. So this is the one. To come and join me like Soru, just click on this link here. Jervin, you're late, no problem. So we've only had one student so far, would you believe? So Jervin, if you want to join me here and get some feedback, that's the link you need there. Link to join me live. Ligi, working for you. So I think Samika is talking about the link to join to come and speak with me here today. Maravik. Okay, so thanks for confirming. It's probably a different link. Let me share that again. While I'm waiting for someone to come and join me, so let me just tell you what's going on with me and Complete Test Success at the moment. There is a live stream tomorrow, early tomorrow, and that's for the writing competition. So that's a task 2 writing competition. So I posted a question last week. Some students responded. I'll choose a winner, give them a full essay correction with all the grammar, all the vocab corrected, explain all the mistakes in relation to the 4 band scores, and then give them their scores. So if you haven't already entered that, you can do that before the end of today. Like I said, there's that speaking test competition. Tomorrow I have a live feedback lesson on general training task 1. If you want to join in there, get feedback on your work. Thursday, I have my live stream. So back here on Facebook and YouTube with a task 2 live stream. And then again on Zoom. So for my subscribers, I have a live feedback lesson on task 2. Hi, happy. Present. So I'm not sure what that means, happy, but welcome to the lesson. I'm also working on a course for academic writing at the moment, and it's coming together nicely. I've finished task 2 and I'm about halfway through task 1. So I'm taking it slowly because I want it to be perfect. And the idea is there are going to be 20 video lessons with 20 assignments where you'll send me 20 pieces of writing and you'll get full feedback, and then we'll have one-on-one meetings to discuss your progress and to discuss what you need to do. So there isn't going to be space for many students. It's going to have to be a small group of students, but I will be giving a lot of attention to that small group of students. So that is the plan. Once I get that course finished, shouldn't be too much longer. But if you're interested in that, just send me a message or send me an email, and we can get some students involved. Happy, eagerly waiting for task 1. Yep, so general training task 1 tomorrow. And the if you're doing general training, that's tomorrow. And then the academic will be for the rest of the month. So I'm going to do general training at the start of every week, at the first Wednesday of every month, and then do academic the rest. How much would it cost? So the course, when it's finished, is going to be just $499. So it's not overly expensive for the amount of feedback that you'll be getting. And then, of course, I will continue with these live streams as well for any of you who cannot afford it. So, yeah, $499. Samika, sir, I would like to be part of that group. So here's the link. Where are we looking? That's the link you're looking for there. So it says free live feedback lessons on Zoom and one-on-one feedback service. Okay. So I mean, the purpose of this lesson is to help you, give you feedback on your speaking. I have nobody joining me live. So be it you're too shy, or maybe you don't need any feedback. Maybe you finished your tests already. I'm going to share it once more. And if nobody joins, we'll just finish up a bit early today. So I'll just do once more. Link to join me live. And Kamar has just joined me. Hi, Kamar. All right, let's get you in here.
Thank you.
Hey, Kamar. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, fine. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Where are you from, Kamar?
Basically, I'm from Pakistan, but currently I'm in Saudi Arabia, KSA.
From Pakistan in Saudi. How do you say your name?
Kamar Hamid, Kamar.
Kamar.
Kamar, yeah.
Kamar.
Yes. I attended, a couple of lessons with you, maybe a couple of months ago. But after that, I got busy with some other things. So.
With the live feedback lessons?
Live feedback lesson, yes. Couple of lessons.
You must have had the camera turned off, because I definitely don't remember your face.
Yes. I never use a camera. This is for the first time I'm using it. Yeah.
Well, nice to see you. So I'm good. I'm good with faces. I'm not as good with names, unfortunately. Okay. Have you booked your? Yeah.
No, not yet, sir.
Not yet. What score do you need?
Overall 7.5.
8, 7.5. In speaking?
I don't know exactly, sir, but uh, actually I'm working in an institute. You can say a school as a
Mm-hmm.
teacher. So they asked me to provide them with 7.5 band academic
So they're just
within
looking
three
for the
four
overall score.
yeah, oral scores, yes. So how would
Okay.
I need to calculate? I don't know exactly.
You'll go for like 7 in writing and speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and then go for an 8 in listening and reading. That's generally candidates will score higher in their reading and listening. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Or
that would be the easiest way. So, if your listening is a band 7.5, get that up to an 8. If your speaking is a band 6.5, get that up to a 7. So just get yourself to those levels would be the least amount of work to an overall band 7.5. Yeah. Okay.
okay.
So let's ask you a question here. So we're on speaking part 3 and questions about vehicles. And Kamar, is it common in your country for people to borrow money from a bank to buy a car?
Yeah, I must say it's quite common. But for the working people who are working in big organizations, or they are running their own businesses, they can afford or they can get car, because bank has a policy. You need to have a certain amount or income, okay, and then they will borrow you money. Otherwise, if you are just doing a normal job, you are not eligible for taking the bank loan. So it happens, the people who can afford monthly installments like that, and the bank knows that they can pay us back.
Now let's talk about pollution from vehicles. Why do so many people continue to drive vehicles even though everyone knows that doing this damages the environment?
Well, uh, actually, there can be two reasons. One thing that this is, people do this just because of their comfort. Okay, when they have their own vehicle, they can constantly move from one place to another place. If they have to pick their kids from the school, or they have to go for the job or shopping like that, they can easily do that instead of going on public transport. uh, so this could be the first reason. And secondly, most people just do this just because of the show off. It happens in my country that people who are having good cars, or they have they are rich people, I must say. They want to show their wealth to others, that they are blessed people, they are good people. So that's why they prefer. Even there are 4 or 5 members in a family, everyone will have is or her own car. So these two reasons, I think, just because of these two reasons, people like to use vehicles.
Do you think governments should stop people from buying vehicles that run on petrol or diesel?
Yeah, I think it's really very important nowadays. In my there are some electric cars which are really environmental friendlier, I think. And government should encourage people to use electric cars instead of using cars which run on petrol and gasoline, in order to avoid this pollution.
Good. Um, your fluency, your vocab, your pronunciation are all a good standard.
Thank
You
you.
do you do this thing sometimes. You start talking before you know what you want to say, and then you get halfway through the sentence, and then you think of what you really want to say, and you just abandon the sentence you started, and then start a new sentence in the middle of the first sentence.
Yeah.
That's a bad habit.
Yeah, exactly, sir. This happens with me. And secondly, another problem is that uh, I give more detail. I think most of the time I give more detail which is not required in fact. So this I can't talk concisely, mean in short words. Even in writing and speaking as well, this is a big problem. I don't know how to overcome this.
In speaking, that's not an issue. Because
Okay.
you're developing your idea, it would be a problem if you weren't talking about the topic of the question. But everything you
Hmm.
say is related to what the question is about. So it's all in the context of the question. So for speaking, that's not an issue. For writing, that can be an issue because you just don't have time. And like you said, going off topic is an issue, but that's not what you were doing. That's not what you were doing here. For
Hmm.
you, grammar is more the area that you need to work on as well.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll just go through a few here quickly. You said they can get car, should be they can get a car.
Mhm.
You said they need a certain amount income. I don't know if that was you decided to say income instead of money. It sounded like you were going to say you need a certain amount of money, and then you just decided to use income instead, but the grammar was wrong. So if you had just said of money, that would have been fine. Um, you said borrow instead of lend. You had those confused. So you said the bank will borrow you money, but it's the bank will lend you
Lend
money.
you money. Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
you had those the wrong way around. And then article mistake again. You were talking about why people continue to drive. You said it's convenient if they have to go for the job, but it would be if they have to go to their job, or if they have to just go to work would be more natural. So you said for the job, which is both grammatically
Hmm,
wrong
hmm,
and
hmm, hmm, hmm.
the vocabulary isn't really accurate either. Just go to work. Um, this phrase, so the phrase itself to show off is a good. It's a good phrase to have in the IELTS test, but you're using it grammatically incorrect. They do this, so it should be they do this because they want to show off. Because they want to show off, but you
Want to
use it
ensure
with
both of the same thing.
no, no. That's the collocation.
Collocation.
They want to show off. So that's how you use the
Hmm,
phrase. Or you could
hmm.
say because they are showing off, or they want to show off. Either way, but the structure you used is inaccurate. So the collocations you said because of the show off, but again it should be because they want to show off or because they are showing off.
Showing off.
It, it's a good phrase, but you have to use it accurately. Is the problem here?
Hmm, hmm.
I asked you a question. I can't remember what it was, but it must have been should somebody do something, and you said yes, I think, which is an incomplete sentence. So yes, I think they should.
Hmm.
So without saying
Yes.
they should, it's incomplete. So you could have just said yes. You could just go straight into the answer. You say yes because. So you can skip that little yes, I think they should. You don't even need that. So you don't really have to reflect the grammar of the question. You can just jump straight into your answer. So let me find the question again just to remind you. Do you think governments should stop people from buying vehicles that run on petrol or diesel? And you said, yes, I think.
Hmm.
But it should be, yes, I think they should. Or just go, yes, because if they don't, then people aren't going to do it by themselves. So you can just jump straight into the reason for your answer. So little bits and pieces of grammar mistakes like that's really your main concern. Um, it seems like articles are the most common one, and then just a little sprinkle of little bits and pieces as well as that. But yeah, that's your feedback.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Do you
I'll
have any
definitely
questions
work
for
on
me?
these areas.
Good.
Thank you, sir. But I although it's not related to the writing, but writing is a big fear for me. I think writing is a big problem. On other part, I'm not saying that I'm 100%, but I'm quite hopeful that I can do well
Mm,
in writing, in listening, and even speaking with the practice. But writing is a main issue for me. So I don't know. Although I wrote your videos, I follow those advice, or
Hmm.
I'm doing that, but still it's a kind of you can say an issue for me.
Yeah, you need to identify your problem more specifically than that. Like if you don't
Hmm.
know specifically what you're doing wrong, you can't improve it. So there's no like you just need to get better at writing. It's you're not analyzing the question correctly.
Hmm.
The ideas that you're
Yeah,
generating aren't specific, or the ideas you're generating aren't relevant, or
this is
you're
this
not
is a
developing them
main problem.
appropriately.
This is a main problem, that I don't know what to write basically. Even though I
So
have the idea, but I am not sure 100% whether it's specific or maybe are too general. Should I go with
yeah,
that or not?
yeah. So that's what you need to get more comfortable with. So,
Hmm.
but like I have live feedback lessons on task 2 every week. I have live streams on task 2 every week. So join in on those. You'll get a bit of feedback, and just at least you'll know, okay, am I okay at this step? Is it my idea generation? And if that's okay,
Hmm.
then you can start working on developing those ideas. So it's,
Sure, sure.
if you're developing ideas but you don't know if they're appropriate or not, you basically need feedback at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
have one-on-one feedback service as well. So if you want to get a full essay correction with all your scores and everything, you can use that. Come along to the live stream. Come along to the live feedback lessons. So
Okay, so
basically,
how can I approach you for that, for individual, as you can say, the feedback?
it's on the same link that I shared earlier on. I don't know if you'll see this on your screen at the moment because you're here with me, but can you see that there?
Uh, Free live lesson. Yes, it's somewhere here,
Yeah,
but okay.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll find that link in the comments, um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all on the same platform now. They're all together. So you'll see it there.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
Good to talk to you again,
Yes, thank you so much. Same
and
here.
nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care of yourself. See you, Kamar.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, so let's see what comments do we have here. Itat, first time, welcome to the lesson. Ifat, hello there. Soru, if I get a question related to music, can I answer about songs, or is it a different thing? I'd have to see the question that you're referring to. Like if you say if you were asked what's your favorite type of music, and you said my favorite song is whatever, somewhere over the rainbow or whatever it would be, that's not answering the question. So it would depend. It would depend on the question, Soru. But you'll always have to give a direct answer to the question, whatever it is. Um, a direct answer is important. But there will be times where you can talk about songs when you're talking about music. But I'd have to see the specific question that you're referring to say confidently. Hi, Sajid. Anna, is this academic or general? Academic, speaking is the exact same for both test types. So the only difference, academic task 1 in writing, general training task 1 in writing, those are completely different. So that's the big difference. Then in reading, the texts that they use are different. The question types are the same, the timing is the same, the number of questions is the same. It's just the actual texts where you find the answers that are different. But besides that, everything is the same. So academic writing task 2 is the same for both. Academic listening is the same for both. Academic speaking is the same for both. So this is for both. The short answer to your question, it's for both. Hey, Stella. Late again, missed the lesson. Better late than never. Yeah, we still have time. There's another 15 minutes, and I've only spoken to 2 students. So you get in here. There's time to get involved, Stella. Okay. I missed most of the lesson. Hey, Arzu, we still have time. I have nobody in here with me at the moment, so if you want to jump in, Arzu, you'll have time to get involved. I've never prepared for the speaking part because I thought I could just talk whatever related to the topic, but after watching this, gosh, I should take a look at it. Speaking, honestly, speaking is a lot less complicated. I mean, if you have a good level of fluency, you'll get a good fluency score. If you have a good level of vocab, you'll get a good vocab score. Same for grammar, same for pronunciation. So really, speaking is not that complicated in that it doesn't require the same amount of preparation. There are things you can do to maximize your score, but with writing, I mean, somebody can have a good level of English and get a bad writing score because they don't know how to do the test. But that's not so much the case with speaking. If you can, I mean, if you have a band 7 fluency, you'll get a band 7 for fluency. You know, whereas with the writing test, with the coherence and cohesion score, you need to know like what structures to follow, what sentences to have in each paragraph, you know, what content to have. Same for task achievement, making sure that your answer is direct and developing it, and all those things that are so important for your score. There aren't really the same hurdles in speaking, so it's definitely not as complicated. Well, no, you can't. What you can do is, if you don't understand the question, you can ask the examiner to repeat it, or you can ask the examiner the meaning of a word. So let's say this was the question: what if we cannot understand the question? Can we ask for a hint? And you don't know the word hint, you can say to the examiner, sorry, what does hint mean? So you can ask the meaning of a word or a phrase in the question, or you can ask the examiner to repeat the full question. What you cannot do is ask the examiner to explain the question. So you can't say, what does that mean? You can't ask them to rephrase the question or anything like that. You can just say, what does the word hint mean, or whatever phrase in the question you don't understand, or get them to repeat it. Usually, how many sentences can we speak in part 3? Just don't worry about that. Just focus on developing your answer. So it's answer the question, develop it. When you finish developing it, stop, wait for the next question. Nobody's counting the number of sentences. The examiner will not be counting the number of sentences. It's more to do with just communicating your ideas. That's what you should be focusing on. Because if you're trying to count your sentences while you're speaking, that would be very off-putting. You'd end up making more mistakes. So it's not a factor. It doesn't matter, and don't try to take that into account when you're answering your questions. Okay, so questions like music you prefer. Does music help you ease? Your favorite music? Yeah, you'd have to talk about music. You could give an example of a song that you like or something, but you don't want to talk about your favorite song if you've been asked about your favorite music. That would not be relevant. Happy's in here with me. Hey, Happy. Give me one moment and I'll get you in here. Sir, the browser has blocked my mic and camera. I'm afraid I'm not sure how to fix that now, Samika. It's not on my end. I'm not seeing anything here that I can help you with, I'm afraid. Unless there's someone with you who's good with technology, I'm afraid I can't do anything on my end now from where I am, unfortunately. You got a band 8.5 in speaking. That's brilliant. I mean, what that means, like, what that indicates is you have the vocab, you have the grammar to get a good writing score. So what's stopping you is your task achievement and your coherence and cohesion. And that's just about understanding what to do. That's just about understanding the exam skills. And that's essentially what I'm teaching. I don't teach English here. I teach exam skills for the IELTS test. So, I mean, you're in a very good position in that you don't need to improve the things that take a lot of time to improve. What will normally take students a long time is like what happens over and over again. A student gets a band 6.5, they need a band 7. And the problem is their vocab is too low and it takes a few months to improve their vocab. So that's the main issue that people face. Whereas in your situation, if you have that range and accuracy already, you're not far away from improving your other scores. Help with map reading and listening part. Yeah, so I have lessons on reading and listening as well. If you go to my website, Stella, just search for complete test success and you'll see lessons for those. You'll see lessons for those there as well. Nana, if it is wrong to use easy vocabulary for writing part 2, but hit all the background statement, or IELTS will give high score only for people who use difficult. Difficult and easy vocabulary is just based on your level. There is no such thing as easy and difficult vocabulary. Like just outright. There's vocabulary that's easy for you and difficult for me, and vice versa. Like think about when you first start studying English, every word in this sentence you would think is difficult vocabulary. But now you're here and this is what you think is easy. That's just a reflection of where you are. In the IELTS test, you should be using the words that you can use accurately. So don't go using words that you can't use. But the only difficult vocab is the words that you can't use accurately. Okay, happy. Let's get you in here. Welcome back.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, your regular spot again.
Yes,
I have
thank you.
I should have you hosting the thing. All right, happy. So we're on part 3, and we're discussing vehicles.
Okay.
How likely is it that only electric-powered vehicles will be produced in the future?
I think it would be possible in future because nowadays technology is improving and there are so many companies who are putting efforts in order to make changes. For example, Tesla, they are putting huge efforts and are making electric cars. And Tata company in my country is also putting efforts in order to make the cars available to every people. For example, in people who are having not having too much salaries.
What disadvantages would be created by only allowing people to use public vehicles?
I think that there will be too much rush if people use only public vehicles. And I think that they have to introduce new public transportation. For example, they have to make the buses more frequent. I think that can be the disadvantage. And I think that fare may increase if there will be more people.
Without the introduction of laws to protect the environment, would people ever quit driving conventional cars by themselves?
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Would people stop driving normal cars if laws did not force them to?
I think if people will not stop using because it will take time, because things cannot happen overnight. It will take time. If governments really want to change the cars that people use now, then it will take some time.
Okay, happy. Good answers, good development. Got nice range of vocab, and your pronunciation is clear again. So just like last week, grammar, right?
Yes,
Um,
I
I think
messed in the last question.
why
I don't get the question properly.
Really?
Yes, I think.
Okay. Didn't notice. Uh, your use of modals is inaccurate. So like will,
Okay.
would,
Would, should.
those two in particular. So like talking
Okay.
about hypotheticals, and then you're reverting back to bringing it back to make it sound like it's based in the real world. Um,
Okay.
so the question: how likely is it that we'll only have electric cars in the future?
Hmm.
You said it would be possible,
Hmm.
but in this case, it's going to have to be it is possible, or
Okay.
it will probably happen, or I think it'll definitely happen, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's
it's the
fine.
modal there. This is more of a collocation. There will be too much rush,
Yes.
so it should be there would be too much of a rush.
Okay. Okay.
So there will be
There
too much
would
rush.
be
There would
too
be
much.
too much of a rush. So it's the collocation
Okay.
too much for rush. So if you just learn that as a full phrase rather than an individual word, just the word rush.
Okay.
And then the last thing is just an incomplete sentence. You said they will not stop using, but you didn't say what they'll stop using. So you needed the last
That's
word.
why I said I messed it.
That's the bit you're talking about. Okay. Well, I did
Yeah.
notice. I did notice if that's the case. Okay. So it's just grammar again. But I think out of
Yeah.
that, like there's no point in picking up on small errors that you made once. What we want to focus on is the errors that you're making consistently. And it's modals at the moment, would and will, using those
Okay.
in the wrong way around to represent the wrong situation.
Okay. It would not be in the next time.
Good. We'll see.
Is my W is improved now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just
And you know what? I only
recorded
noticed
myself.
because you made one small, very small mistake and you corrected it in the middle. And it's only because of that I noticed. That's a very
Yes,
difficult thing to improve as well. That's not
yes,
easy.
I focused, like I tried it, and I think I'm improving it now.
You absolutely are. And I should have said it because I did notice, but all I did was write
Thank
down
you.
your mistakes. Definite improvement.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm actually
Thank you, sir.
surprised how much you've improved because it's a difficult thing. Like small pronunciation things like that take time, and that's
Hmm.
only 1 week. Is that right?
I do practice. I don't speak in my mother tongue. I just try to speak in English only.
Awesome.
I just
That's
listen to
amazing.
English. Like whenever I try to sleep, I just like use headphones, listen to podcasts, like or like for 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm
Brilliant.
putting so efforts.
Well done. Fair play to you. Well, that's a big difference to
Thank
see in 1 week as well. That's amazing.
Yes.
I'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
I come along to my live feedback lessons as well. There's more feedback for you there. Are
Yeah,
they at bad
I
times?
actually sometimes I don't get time to
Ah, okay.
join live, but I watch after that.
Perfect.
I watch
All right.
each and every video
Excellent.
from beginning to the end.
Ah, good. All right. Talk to you next
Yes.
time. Happy. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
See
Thank
ya.
you, sir.
Okay, we have. All right, we're just about out of time, but I have 3 students with me here, so I'm gonna let's get through the 3 that are with me here because I feel bad finishing before I do. But I'm saying this now just so that nobody thinks it's unfair that they join late. So I have Arzu, Medat, and Samika. So we'll go through these 3 and then we'll finish up there. Do we have any more questions? Nana, you're very welcome. Kamar, I would like to be part of that course too. Great. So I'm not onboarding yet, but I'll have more news when it is available. And like I said, there aren't going to be many students, so I don't know how long it'll take. It'll depend on how much time it takes each student. I'm not going to rush any student. I'm going to give it, whoever joins is going to have as much time as they want. So I think my availability will depend on how fast or slowly students complete the course after that. Okay, Arzu, let's get you in here. Hello again.
Hello, sir. Sorry,
How are you doing?
in the morning. Actually, I was having an exam, so
Oh yeah,
engaged
for what?
in that.
Exam for what?
In preparing for PhD, in
Nice.
India.
Good for you. Excellent. You keep yourself busy doing a PhD
Yes,
at IELTS at the same time.
I just saw your live. Yes, sir. Actually, for PhD, I had planned earlier, but for IELTS, it was just September month when I started, preparing for IELTS, and before that, I was planning go for PhD.
Good for you. Awesome. Okay, let's get you some questions here.
Thank you.
So again, we're talking about vehicles.
Okay.
No, sorry. I just finished all those questions. Okay. We're talking about tourist destinations. What types of tourist destinations are most popular with young people in your country?
So your voice is breaking. Like the video is also getting paused and then started with the pause.
I think it's your internet, Arzu. So the question is,
Okay.
what types of tourist destinations are most popular with young people in your country?
Okay. So tourist destinations are in my country, as I belong to India, it is a religious country, and we believe that most of the things we for watching to whom people visit in India is the cultures and our traditions and the religious things we have in our country. So. People from different nations, whether they are young or old, visit India most of the time for for getting that things, like to see that religious things most of the time, which I have noticed since last few years, that the tourists have been increased in India, and I think they are increasing because we have a lot of the historical things, we have a lot of cultural things, we have a lot of religious things to showcase. So I think that is why which is attracting more and more tourists nowadays.
Okay. I think you didn't hear the question properly, but I think that's just the internet problem. So the question was about young people, not tourists. But I understand that your internet connection is an issue at the moment, so that would be a factor. Just a few little mistakes you've made. Your fluency is good. In fact, everything is good. Everything is good today. But let me just point out some mistakes you have. You said, I belong to India, which we would never say.
Yeah.
Arzu, your screen is frozen. I don't know if you can hear me, but you can
Okay.
listen to the recording anyway. You say, I belong to India. We would say, I'm from India. You use the word culture. So you said the things that people visit is the culture, but the culture is more the way that people behave, the things that people do, not the actual, structures or areas in a country. So you use the word culture incorrectly. And then this is one grammar mistake. You said, I have noticed since last few years. So it should be, I have noticed in the last few years. So not since the last, but in. I have noticed in the last few years is the phrase. So you just use that inaccurately. Okay. So Arzu, I realize you're gone. So let's get the next student in. Arzu, are you still there?
Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay. And next up is Samika. And there we go. Hey, Samika. How are you? Your microphone is muted at the moment.
Hi, sir. Sorry.
You're good?
Yes, I am.
Am I saying your name correctly?
It's actually Kamika.
It was 50-50. It was going to be Kamika or Samika, and I've just been saying
Yes.
the wrong one all the time. Does that
No,
happen
it's
a lot?
okay. That's actually my Google Mail. So that's the
Okay.
name that is there. Yes.
Kamika.
Yes.
Good. Where are you from, Kamika?
I am from the beautiful country of Guyana. We're in the South America, in the Caribbean.
Very nice. What language do you guys speak there?
English.
Yeah.
We have yes, English is our main language, but because we're a mixture of race, we have Chinese, Portuguese, Indians, everybody.
everything.
So yes, so there's some amount of Spanish, there's Marindian, there's Chinese, there's Portuguese, because Brazil is our neighbor, Suriname is our neighbor, we have Dutch also. So it's a mixture, but predominantly it's English. English is our main language.
Okay. And how many other languages do you speak?
Oh, I only speak English. I don't know the others.
Okay, so you hear a lot. You hear a
Yes,
lot.
I
of them.
do hear a lot. Yes, yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Why are you doing the IELTS test, Kamika?
For work migration process.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And what score do you need?
I need a 7 in speaking.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm serious. I can ask you a question. I don't mind, but when you speak English,
yes,
fine.
I do speak. Yes.
How are you for the other parts? Like your problem, if you have a problem, it's going to be writing.
Yes.
Because I've had friends, like I had an Irish friend who wanted to go to Australia, and he couldn't get a good score in the IELTS writing test, not because of his English ability, because he didn't know how to do the IELTS test.
Yes.
So he was getting his scores were fine and everything else. But for you, Kamika, just make sure that you know how to write the way you need to write in the IELTS writing test.
Yes, the writing and the reading is like, oh, sometimes you look for the answer at the beginning and you have to read this entire passage at times, and it's to the bottom, maybe at the paragraph, when you may be looking for it at the top, and that's time. That's time.
I have a strategy for the reading test, which just takes all the complication out of it.
Okay.
You'll find it on wherever you're following me. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, you'll find it, or it might be easier just to find it on my website.
Okay.
But it's just one lesson on reading. But the thing is, like most strategies are find keywords, think of synonyms, do all this stuff. I find that complicated.
Yes.
But my strategy, the basics is this: read the first paragraph, check if any of the check if you can answer any of the
if any of the
questions,
answers are there, and then you can move forward.
Just go paragraph by paragraph is less complicated.
Yes.
But have a look at the strategy.
Okay, I will. The paper test is better to do that because you can look back to the passage. But when you're on a computer and you have to keep scrolling up and down, that anyway, you just have to get about the challenge.
You start getting seasick, right?
Yes.
Do you want to answer an IELTS question? Do you want to have a go? Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Okay, so we're talking about tourists. Do people in your country visit the same tourist destinations now as they used to in the past?
In my opinion, tourist destination varies because of age, because of generation. You have new developments rather taking place. So, but one main destination I can assure you of is the Kaichor Falls. That's the tallest falls in the world. So, persons of varying age, varying who come home for vacation, or some persons just come to see. It's a tourist site. So that's one site that I know for sure from previous times, present, and in the future. People will always go visit the Kaichor Falls. It's magnificent. You have a terrain, you have this adventure, and oh, my battery is low. Yes, and people would visit the Kaichor Falls. You have a few like the monuments. Persons do visit the monuments back then in the past and presently, because you want to encourage and maintain the knowledge in the younger generation and pass on the knowledge, pass on information. Yes. There are places like for in my region, this is region 10, Linden. You have places like the Cenotaph, the Water
Okay.
Wheel.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So you're trying to give like an academic type of answer. You're trying to answer like it's a job interview or something. You just talk the
Okay.
way you were talking before. Just talk the way you
Okay.
normally talk.
Okay.
You started with "in my opinion,"
Yes.
and I knew straight away it's like you would never say something like that normally. You would just give your opinion, not say
Opinion.
"in my
Okay.
opinion." Just give it. So just talk the way you normally
Okay.
talk, and as well
Okay.
give a direct answer to the question. You have to talk about what you're asked. So the question was, do people still visit the same destinations? And you kind of briefly answered it, but you mainly talked about destinations in general. So it actually was a good
Okay.
idea for us. You do you need to stay more focused on the question, and it's not a
Okay.
job interview. It's not an academic. It's just
Just
just speaking.
relax.
I'm gonna ask you one more just for the sake of it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So answer the question directly and just talk. Don't try to give me a like fancy
Okay.
answer. Just get a normal the way you speak. Okay.
Okay.
Here's your question. Why do people like to buy souvenirs when they visit a tourist attraction?
People actually buy souvenirs when they visit a tourist site for memory. They can keep it. It's a treasure to them. It's a souvenir, and they can be able to say, look at it, or they can show their children and grandchildren that yes, I went to this place. Just like when people would go to the lakes and they would pick up the seashells and take it home, and they can have it and use it as ornaments and so forth, just for the memory. Use it as souvenirs. Some persons like are that traditional. They like those kinds of things.
There you go.
Is
Perfect.
that better?
Oh yeah, you're just talking.
Okay.
Yeah, you tried to
Okay.
show off a little bit there in the middle, but besides that, you're good. All right.
Okay. Thank
Nice
you
to
for
meet you,
having
Kamika.
me.
You're very
Yes,
welcome.
me too.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Yes, bye. I will.
Okay, we have any more questions here? To be part of that. Oh, sorry, I looked at that already. Submit your essay. So I think Happy is probably talking about the competition tomorrow. So get involved in that. Kamika's got diversity in her language. Kamika speaks English. I mean, yeah, that's her first language. It's good. But I think, not to say anything negative about Kamika, but for you, Happy, to come in here and it's your second language, that is more impressive. That you have your first language and you've worked that hard to improve to the level that you're at. I mean, English is my first language. I didn't really, I haven't worked that hard on it. You get the first one comes easy. It's the other ones that you have to work on. So yes, definitely Kamika's English is great, but you know, it's very impressive to see all of you coming in here with English being your second language and to perform at the level that you do. You know, a lot of respect for that. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. Like I said, I have that essay competition tomorrow. Enter that. I have the lucky draw for the speaking test. Put your name under that post. General training. Excuse me. General training task 1, live feedback lesson tomorrow. And let me just share that link again, just to make sure you have that. And I got a new platform for the live feedback lessons as well. So what it was before was you'd have to wait for my email every Monday. Just a little bit inconvenient, but now as soon as you join, click that link, sign up. As soon as you're there, you have access and the schedule, so it's way more convenient. Okay, so that's it for today. See you all in the next lesson, and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.